This week, Vikings.
Outsiders.
And where are all the bears?
This is the front page. Welcome to the front page, a show that brings you the top content of the week from the social news website, reddit.com. I'm Tyler Slayton.
I'm Neil Figuracion.
How's it going, man?
It's going swell, man.
Right on.
Yeah,
How you been? How you been since last time?
I've been watching some Netflix shows and just kind of, playing games.
Playing games? What games you playing?
I played one of my favorite games by Vlada Chvátil called Dungeon Lords.
Are you one of those people that knows people's names? Knows
I know
designers' names?
I don't know your name.
Right. Knows game designers' names?
Why wouldn't I?
Because they're for me, they're too hard to pronounce. Can't, if you got two umlauts in your name, I'm just big fan.
That's why I'm learning German.
All right,
so I can pronounce names.
All right, who is this?
Vlada is a Czech game designer out of the Czech Games studio. And Dungeon Lords is kind of like the reverse of Munchkin or the reverse of Dungeons and Dragons. So each player owns a dungeon and is recruiting their monsters and buying their traps and making sure that they can pay the price before stupid villagers come to their house and try to TP it for Halloween. Not really TP.
I was going to say.
Wrecking it. So, yeah.
So those,
I got to play it twice.
Whoever can get, the most, banging dungeon is, the...
Whoever's got the best dungeon that is the least crushed by the end of the game.
Oh, interesting. So, can you affect other people's dungeons in
but you can
ways? Okay.
you can get in the way. If you get something before someone else gets it, then you have it.
All right, I'll have to check this out.
It's very cool.
All right.
It has a long learn. I insist that you take the 45-minute prep exercises before you start learning the basic rules of the game.
All right.
To me, I insist.
I have the time.
I taught the game twice last week.
I have the time because I've gotten into something board game related.
What is this?
I've started painting figures.
Oh, dry brush or wet brush?
Both.
Okay.
Do the dry brush for the highlights and
dry brush is a really beautiful technique.
Sure, it's
I don't like playing that kind of game, but I do love.
No, I don't like. I'm not playing Warhammer. Even though I appreciate that, and those are the kind of people I learned from.
They've got great skills.
I'm doing Adventurers, which is a Fantasy Flight game. That's what I'm learning on. I'm learning on those guys, and then I picked up the
little plastic guys.
Yeah, and then I picked up the Star Wars Imperial Assault, which is.
Are those painted?
They can be painted, which is what I'm going to do. And it's a palette I'm very familiar with, so I'm all super psyched. But
I do love some good painting. So I wish you much luck in your technique.
And it's fun, and sometimes it's frustrating where you're just you have a guy this big and you have to paint sunglasses on him.
It's a craft, man.
But yeah, it's super fun.
You got one hair on your brush, and that's.
Oh yeah, I have a brush that's a stick with 4 eyelashes on it, and that's what I'm using. All right, but. We can get into format. This is funny every time. Actually, this story is tangentially related, I guess. Submitted to the subreddit gaming by Ribbit Skibbit. I don't know.
You have big Frogger fan.
I don't know, but they're gonna have to bring the rest of these usernames. Gonna have to bring it because that Ribbit Skibbit, super fun to say. All right. World of Warcraft loses 44% of its entire subscriber base over 6 months, reaching user lows not seen since Vanilla WoW.
What's Vanilla WoW?
Vanilla WoW would be when it first came out.
Oh. Thought it was kind of the new
that was a flavor
cookies.
of So a quarterly report revealed that World of Warcraft is now down to 5.6 million subscribers. Its lowest
Only 5.6 million.
It's its lowest level since 2006, resulting from a 44% dip over the last 6 months. I guess what happens is the WoW user subscriber base tends to ebb and flow, because they bring out expansions and they add new stuff all the time. But I guess since 2011, it's just been dropping, and it's weird because I remember in college.
Everyone plays.
Every other person I talked to, they would be like, "Oh, you're on WoW, right?" I'd be like, "Oh, I don't. That's like having another job. I can't do it." Yeah. They used to go EverQuest. They used to refer to it as Evercrack.
Evercrack, yeah.
I forget. There's a World of Warcraft?
I've never heard that.
I don't know. There was some other pun addiction name of for World of Warcraft. But yeah, I guess one of the things they're kind of blaming this on, like Blizzard is the developer.
Yeah.
And it used to be like their big games was Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo.
Old school.
They've totally switched to. They got this new game. It's not quite out yet. Called Overwatch, Hearthstone, and Heroes of the Storm, which are all freemium games.
Okay.
So free to play, but the microtransactions, like you buy little stuff as you go along. And
well, that seems to be possibly lucrative.
It's definitely it's their main revenue stream at this point.
Wow.
Even with the 5.6 million subscribers, which is what World of Warcraft is, so they're getting money that way. But I guess people just aren't.
They don't want to have to pay for the box.
They're not interested in that model anymore.
Yeah.
And I guess they're trying to like counteract this. They're gonna maybe come out with, more content more frequently in order to keep that user base up. And they also did say that they're hoping the World of Warcraft movie that's coming out, will pique people's interest because
if it is well written and well directed and well,
I don't know, as a comic book guy,
animated,
the Marvel movies help, but not a lot. So I don't know what to think. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's almost like you're hearing about like a religion shutting down. People just aren't interested in this.
Scientology, people are a lot less interested in it now.
That's true, and it's an old-fashioned game that's gone down or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
People still buy the boxes for that game, for the Scientology.
Sure. And also the other thing is Warcraft's. It feels. I haven't played it consistently, but it feels like a 10-year-old game at this point. So they've gussied it up a little bit, but
but how many games exist with a steady user base for that long?
That's true. No, I will not take away what they've accomplished. They've built an entire universe that exists outside of our own. That's incredible. But yeah, I guess people just aren't super interested anymore. All right.
I guess the other games will help Blizzard out.
Next story. Submitted to the subreddit Pix by Smashly951.
That's a fun name.
This is cool. This is a throwback. It is Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Ralph Macchio, Rob Lowe, and Matt Dillon, 1983. What does that make you think of?
Young Guns?
No. Have you never seen The Outsiders?
No.
What?
Maybe. That's that one with Eddie and the Cruisers, right?
No, that's the one. It's like mostly C. Thomas Howell and Ralph Macchio.
They're
like greasers back in.
I kind of remember
the
like
50s.
The movie existing, but I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, it's a Coppola movie. It's you need to see it. It's great. Like I remember liking this. I read the book as a kid.
Okay.
And the movie's fantastic. And
that's not the one where they're vampires.
No, it's not the vampire one.
Okay.
But it is kind of.
It would be cool if they were.
It's like the uncredited. Origin of the Brat Pack, kind of. Because all those people were kind of Brat Packy.
They were that age at that time.
Yeah, and it's a great movie. Like, Tom Cruise is in it, and I may or may not be his first movie, but he has no lines in it. Like, it's
like before Risky Business?
Oh, yeah. But he's just like a background character. Like, but yeah, it's great. A lot of great people in it. It's totally worth it, and it's got a great...
So why does this come up?
I don't know, just everyone, like, there's a subreddit, it wasn't submitted to this particular one, but there's a subreddit called Old School Cool, which is just photos of, I think we did one, I think the Neil deGrasse Tyson one we did.
Oh, yeah.
Last week
or
week
like
before.
Boxing or something.
I think when he was wrestling, yeah. I think that came from it. But yeah, people on Reddit just seem to vibe on the sort of like,
this is what it was like
was
back
so
in
much,
the days.
It was so much simpler when we didn't have Reddit, and we all just looked awesome and wore aviators and...
Reddit, why are you killing our fashion?
Actually, now that I think of it, this is a double throwback because it's a picture from 1983, but they're all dressed like they're from 1960.
Well, like the 50s and the 60s were really coming back in the 80s. I used to wear like a peace symbol on a pendant.
Oh, and also, half these people were in Red Dawn.
I saw Red Dawn.
All right. Yeah. So imagine Red Dawn with no Russians. It takes place 30 years earlier, and just imagine.
So it's like Back to the Future. What you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I bet there is fan fiction about how those two movies connect.
They do.
And they're all time travelers.
I already believe it's the same movie.
Actually, we should cut that out because that's too good an idea. We need to hang on to that one. So cut that out. All right, moving on. Submitted the subreddit GIFs by Forte2. I get it.
What's the
answer
to the
No, it's literally Forte, Forte, Forte2.
Yeah.
So I like it. It's good.
Or it could be Fort 2. Like,
what is that?
Charles Fort?
Why 2?
Because he's not the first one.
Charles
Fort
didn't get
is
there
like
early
a
enough?
hero of mine, man. He was the guy who wrote all those books about like rains of frogs and stuff and whether they actually happened.
All right. Well,
he was a weird, freaky dude.
That is the outsiders of authors for me.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, it just says.
Oh no, there was no E in that name.
There you go. Yeah. The title is just "Quick, get into the lifeboat where you'll be safe." I'll blow this up real quick.
What's happening?
And this is one of those like Captain Phillips lifeboats.
That'd be fun. Were people in that?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be fun in
I want to see them get out now.
Emergency situation. They do. You can barely see them. You know, like one person gets out and does them rather dazed. I just like to think that the person who engineered this is at this thing, and everyone just looks to him, and he's like, I didn't think of I didn't figure that part out. We'll work on that, and he's like, man, is that supposed to do?
I mean, maybe if the ship is sinking and that thing is at the height where it needs the water right there.
Maybe you'd survive. Okay, there you can see someone getting out. Actually, he got out really quick. I'm strapped down in there. Whoa. You would hope they were, because that's like a 20-foot fall to begin with.
Yeah.
I have a gift of everything. I have to imagine.
Would you get in that thing?
I mean, if it's that or drowning, yeah, I guess so. It seems like a good idea.
I mean, that's how like spaceships land when they come back to Earth, right?
No, that is not how spaceships. They usually have.
I mean,
parachutes and whatnot.
Oh, well, then they just need to add a parachute to this.
That's all right. Hopefully, one that will open within 20 feet.
I mean, I don't know physics.
Yeah, you're about as smart as the engineer who designed this.
Yeah, I mean, I might be smarter, but anyway.
All right. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. Like, it seems safe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the inside of that thing looks like. Could someone live in it?
Now it looks like a bloody mess, is what it looks like. All right.
My shoe.
Moving on. Speaking of things that don't seem safe, this is submitted to the subreddit Not the Onion.
All right. Which means that it's not fake.
Right. It's stories that seem fake, seem like they should be fake, but aren't. This is submitted by Ducator. All right. Amazon launching 1-hour booze delivery in Seattle. So we're moving the show to Seattle. So that's what's happening. This is how I decided to tell you guys.
Like an hour is a long time to get booze. Why not just go to the store?
Yeah, but it's relatively short when you're like, who can drive? No one? We can stay drunk for an hour. And also, like, I volunteered being the delivery person because you were a pizza guy. Drunk people tip awesome.
Do they? I don't remember that from my pizza guy.
Really?
Time.
Oh, man. Drunk people are the best. I
think drunk people just yell at you more.
No, the drunk people I had were all, like, generous and, like, couldn't do math. So they would get the money together and, like, oh, don't forget to put in for tip. And then I'll forget that they didn't put in for tip. It's like, oh, we didn't put in for the tip. And I would make bank on those drunk people.
Well, I guess I'll have to learn. But I feel like whenever I see drunk people, they're coming out of some stupid sports game. And, like, I hate them.
No, but these are drunk people at home. These are civilized, classy drunk people. But anyway, the story we should get into. Oh, I didn't bring it up on the screen. Starting today, actually, Prime members in Amazon's hometown of Seattle can get 1 hour and 2 hour delivery of beer, wine, and hard liquor with the launch of Prime Now, making Seattle the first U.S. city to include alcohol in the assortment of products eligible for the quick delivery service.
So, like, they have to verify 16-year-olds or whatever.
I don't know how that works. I don't know if you, like, verify your account, or they must...
Some parents just gonna let their kids have whatever.
Yeah, I guess, but someone's got to ID you. Although Amazon delivers, like, scary knives and stuff. Like, they don't card for that stuff. Or I think you can get, like, spray paint delivered, which I have to be...
Really?
You have to be carded for. But yeah, apparently it's 2 hour delivery at no charge. But if you want the 1 hour delivery, it's $8.
I mean, if you're really into it, then yeah.
I can see a lot of people, like, just with the app and all, have, like, are we sure no one can drive?
All right.
Okay, we'll just do the $8.
All right.
I might sober up in 2 hours. That'd be terrible.
Booze.
But what Amazon? Just what an incredible service.
Good for you, Amazon. Take advantage of those
right.
very
And honestly, it is. It's a safety thing. DUIs are going to go down in Seattle. It has to, because no one's going to go on a beer run.
Okay, I mean, I'll go with that theory.
It should have been in the press release. Like, it should be in this story, that theory. I should work for Amazon, is what I'm saying. Amazon should pay me money. But yeah, good on them. I'm excited for Seattle and their booze delivery.
People do love their booze.
Indeed. In Seattle especially. It's always cloudy. Ooh. All right. Another one in the subreddit picks submitted by Jaguar Bitch. I don't know if that's supposed to be like Jaguar, comma, bitch.
Maybe it's Jaguar B itch.
You keep trying to, like, do these spins on...
It's just what I hear.
I don't see this person explaining, like, no, it's Jaguar B itch. Pronounce it right.
Do you think that that's like... I'm just trying to guess. Like, is this a woman who's, like, really proud of her jaguarness and she's a bitch? Or is this a man who's, like, Jaguar?
I'm thinking
bitch?
I'm going to go with, like, some sort of... And I don't want to assume anything about Jaguar Bitch, because he did...
I mean, we're only making
He's a
guesses.
contributor to the show, but I read that and I'm like, oh, it's a guy in his, like, 40s who drives a Jaguar and is really into it. Like, has the Jaguar... Like, has a jacket that has the Jaguar logo on it, and he's like, Jaguar Bitch, deal with it.
All right. I will make no assumptions.
Which is like saying, like, I couldn't afford an Audi, bitch.
I'm on a used bicycle.
Oh, yeah, I drive a Fiesta. So, anyway, the story is just called You Seeing What I'm Seeing? And it's a very unique story for us, because we've had several stories on this show where we have to use our powers of deduction. And we're trying to figure out, like, why is this happening? How is this happening? Like, is this real? What are the circumstances under which this happened? This is the first story where we have to try and figure out if this was intentional. All right?
All right.
So I'm going to show you this picture first. This is not what was submitted to Reddit. So this is some sort of piece of jewelry, I assume. A locket, possibly goes on a necklace or something. I want you to read what that says for the audience.
Hope.
It says hope, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the picture that was submitted to Reddit.
Adult.
I would say that says Adolf.
Oh, okay.
So, our job is to figure out, why did someone mean to do this? It has to be, right? It's way too much a coincidence.
I write upside down and backwards, so, like...
All right.
I mean, it just happens.
It just so happens that this is totally readable.
Both ways? Yeah.
You saw this originally.
I didn't see this as Adolf.
Okay, but had you seen that first? You saw the person that was on Reddit first. You saw that it said Adolf. You read it no problem, right?
I mean, it can be read that way.
Right.
But I don't see that as an LF.
Why not? That's...
I mean, maybe it's because of what I saw first.
Okay, the kerning might be a little bit off, but...
I'm a font nerd.
Yeah, and so you should appreciate this font that you can read upside down and right side up.
Most of them do that.
No, I know you
They're
can read
letters.
them, but they don't become other words.
Mom and wow.
Dude, you're just convincing me more that this is on purpose, and now I just want to know why. What is this person's message? Are there a lot of, Nazi sympathizers that design
at
trinkets?
At Michael's crafts. Or Joanne.
I think it's kind of funny. Like, it would end up on one of those god awful bracelet thingy, like the charm bracelet.
The charm bracelet, yeah.
Oh, those people are the worst. It's like, these three represent my kids, and this, and you can hear me walking like a cat because it jingles.
I mean, someone's got to hear them.
Hate those people. So I like the idea that they ended up with
Adolf, an inadvertent Adolf, or advertent.
Or maybe, the name Adolf has gotten a bad rap.
I mean, I know people named Adolfo.
One particular
guy. People basically don't have the name Hitler anymore.
Yeah. I would say.
I mean, there are people who are related.
You're going to go out on that limb and say that's.
I feel pretty safe to say that name has been stricken from the book.
No. I think if you look at the chart of the frequency of that name, once you get around 1944, it kind of tapers off. Like World of Warcraft subscribers. Callback. Moving on.
What?
Also submitted to the subreddit Pix by Atlas Ives. I think it's Ives.
If you say Pix backwards, it's Skip.
What? It's a conspiracy. I like this one. I like it because of the title mostly. It just says, "Hey Reddit, I painted this Viking painting! ! What do you think?" And I figured, since you asked so nicely, let's take a look at it.
What do I think? Aww.
Nah, I wouldn't react like that, but I think that is a fantastic Viking painting.
It's very cool. It uses very cool digital stuff going on.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I assume it's a digital painting.
It appears just the way the light is working, but...
Right. But yeah, it tells a story. There's a bit of a mystery in it. Yeah, like you said, lighting is amazing. Yeah. Tons of detail. But yeah, I think we the front page approve of this painting. Good job.
Is what we think.
Username, I'll spell it in case you want to, because I know he does have other work. Atlas, Atlas, Ives, Ives.
Atlas Ives.
Atlas Ives.
No relation to Burl Ives.
Do you want to try and figure out some other crazy spelling that could be? Could it be Atlas Ives?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. It's not. Spoiler alert. Yeah, but
what if we spelled it backwards?
Good on you. A lot of good.
I know, it's
art
very cool.
It's become I don't know how often people do. Remember DeviantArt?
Mm-hmm.
I think
still around.
Yeah, it still exists. I don't know how often people use it. Uh-huh. It used to be the go-to. I'm an artist.
Let's put this up.
If your art was online, it was on there. But tons of great art in every medium on Reddit. We should do. One day we'll do just an art show.
Art show.
Yeah. We'll stick tuned for that. All right. Next story submitted to one of our favorites, WTF, by Mayuen. It's just titled... I skipped one. We'll go with Mayuen's story anyway. It's titled, "So This Happened to Me Today." Takes a second to kind of figure out what's going on.
I know where we are. Yeah, that's difficult.
That is... Because escalators, if you can't tell, it's an escalator with a step missing. And
that's where you get your foot stuck in there and end up
and you don't have a foot anymore, yeah. And escalators are kind of terrifying. We use them every day, but could you imagine...
If you're from the 1700s.
Yeah, but, falling down an escalator seems like one of the most horrific ways to die possible. Yeah. It's like falling down a meat shredder.
Yeah.
But this just makes it even worse.
Someone let that happen.
I get, I don't know how... Go get someone. I don't know how you see that and you're not the next person just you need to put some tape up or some caution tape or something, or just have a guy standing there just going like, oh yeah, watch your step, like really watch your step. I know you see watch your step all the time.
I mean,
we're
you should
serious.
watch your step in general.
You should watch, especially when...
This is like that video game level where you're trying to get from one platform to the next, and it's like it just disappeared.
Out, yeah. No, yeah, this
but
is...
like a second later, it'll be back.
Well, I'm glad...
I mean, we should have a video game challenge based on the escalator.
Well, I'm really glad Mayowen noticed this, not just to get us the cool story, but to also survive. Like...
Yeah, Mayowen, I hope you didn't die.
I don't think she forgot. I don't think... Although that seems like a very millennial thing to do, like take a picture of danger and then
die right away.
And then die from that exact danger.
I'm texting while driving.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that, please.
Yeah, don't do that, and don't step on escalators that are missing steps
while you're driving.
Yes, don't drive up escalators either.
Probably a good plan.
All right. Next story, which was actually going to be our last story, but I went out of order. Another one of our favorites. Today I learned. Submitted by Odplocki? Odplocki. Odplocki.
All right.
Might be a last name. Today I learned there were ancient stone tablets in Japan's... Oh, it says recent. There were ancient stone tablets in Japan's recent tsunami-struck areas. I can't read today. Tsunami-struck areas with inscriptions... Do not build your homes below this point. So, I guess there are these stone tablets that, well, a stone tablet in Eneyoshi, Japan, warns residents not to build their homes below it. Hundreds of these so-called tsunami stones, some more than 6 centuries old, dot the coast of Japan. So I guess
like the 10 Commandments, but Japanese. And
there's
about building
one commandment, and it's really important.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess this was near a particular village. Like you remember the tsunami from 2011. Yeah. Yes. It was like this village of like 11 homes. So there was this stone there that said like, don't build your homes below this point, because even like 6 centuries ago, they knew the dangers of tsunamis and what they can affect. The waves stopped 300 feet below the stone, which is terrifying.
Like, that's enough for a home to not be built there, yeah.
And I'm one of these people that, like, I don't, some people were just like, it should be this way because that's how it was done in the past. I don't subscribe to that theory very often, but this makes me reconsider.
If there's an actual warning of like, it's something to consider.
Sure, yes, and there is definitely evidence that this works.
Right.
There's a quote from a historian.
We have the 11th commandment right here.
That is the 11th. Don't build your house below these particular stones if you're in Japan. Tsunami stones are warnings across generations telling descendants to avoid the same suffering of their ancestors. Some places heeded these lessons of the past, but many didn't.
Lessons learned in history, man.
Yeah, this was it's almost spooky.
It's like time travelers went back and left this clue, except they're not time travelers. They're just from then.
They're really slow time travelers if there are.
Well, I mean, everyone travels through time, just like 1 second at a time.
Whoa, slow down, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Forward.
Oh, yeah.
Like you and me.
I know. I was doing a bit.
Comedy?
Yeah. you stick to reading the stories. All right. I will read another story then.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we're about to have our third mention of Neil deGrasse Tyson on this show. This was submitted to the subreddit Science by P. Newell. This is interesting because I was thinking about this. The title of this is 97% of climate science papers support the consensus, but what about those who don't? I was thinking about this. I was listening to an episode of Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and the subject was...
Sounds like an E-weekly kind of...
You don't listen to Star Talk?
No.
Star Talk's great. It's just...
Or like, is it like Car Talk with Click and Clack? But with Neil deGrasse Tyson and like...
Yeah, it's just it's him and a guest usually sitting around talking about sciencey stuff and the dulcet tones of Neil deGrasse Tyson. No, it's a great listen. You should check it out.
All right.
But they were talking about climate change, and there's, we've all heard the 97% consensus about climate change is a thing and it's a danger, and it's not 50-50 like Fox News would lead you to believe. But I was thinking about those 3% of scientists that say, no, this isn't true. Because I was like, so what is their... Why are
Where
they going
do they
against...
come from?
Because...
Well, it's like science isn't necessarily when one person writes a study and then all of a sudden everybody believes it's true.
Sure, but then again...
Which the internet would have you believe that as soon as a study is released...
This is true. But then again, also, like, if you went to 100 doctors and they were like, I'm sorry, it's cancer, I think we should start... Or 97 of them were like, it's cancer, I think we should start treatment right away. And 3 of them were like, no, you're cool, you can go home. You'd be like, let's start treatment and figure out why these 3 doctors are not good at their job.
Where you're coming from.
And that's exactly what they did. So it's a new paper published in the Journal of Theoretical and Applied Climatology. Finds the common errors among the 3% of climate change papers that reject the global warming consensus.
So basically they've made mistakes.
Yes. So what they did was they took 38 papers, and they focused on the most definitive, like, yes, no, climate change is a lie because of this, and this. Like the ones that think it's a hard truth that it isn't. So they focused on those, and they went in with the hypothesis, like, okay, let's say these are all right.
Yeah.
Let's prove the science.
I mean, that's what we call an inverse proof.
Right.
Sure.
And they didn't, and they couldn't.
Based on the science that was proposed in the papers.
So the replication revealed a wide range of types of errors, shortcomings, and flaws involving both statistics and physics. So they said the most common error was what they called cherry picking. Mm-hmm. So what they would do is they would take a model and say it was 6,000 years, but their theory needs to prove something different. So they're like, we're just going to look at these 4,000 years here. And that proves that, we're all fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Run your car. Yeah, diesel's the best.
Okay.
Then there's also something called curve fitting, which I guess is the same theory where you kind of stretch out data to the point, like it would be the opposite. Like you'd stretch data to the point where
what we're saying is that people basically are choosing to mess with their data.
Yeah, kind of. It's sort of I think they avoid the scientific method.
I wonder who paid these people.
Well, let's not get too deep.
No, I mean, I'm a conspiracy theory fan.
Sure.
So and these guys are not effective, scientists are not effective at doing their jobs.
Yeah, but it seems like they sort of rejected the scientific method and went in and went, all right, this is what we need to prove. What numbers can we plug into this to make it? To me,
bad science is why Krypton explodes.
Well, no, that was good science. People just didn't believe it.
Well, why did they not believe it? Because of bad scientists.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't prove it. No, it's exactly what's happening. No, I guess it was just one guy.
Well, I mean, I couldn't.
That one guy did seem crazy. It's just like, the planet's going to explode. I'm going to put my baby in a rocket. Yeah, that would be the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tried.
It does also, I read this article, I guess a lot of these 3% of climatologists like to compare themselves to Galileo, because Galileo was always like, no, I'm right, you should check this out. And it turns out they're not like Galileo, because Galileo, it turned out, yes, he was right.
He did a lot of experimenting and actually used his experiments.
But no, not these guys. Not the same. All right. One last story of the day.
Oh.
Yeah, we're already there.
Wow.
This went by quick. This is submitted to the subreddit Funny by the mid guitar. Kind of spelled like a dinosaur. THE_MIDGETAUR.
Guitar.
Mid guitar. So some sort of mythical beast that plays 6 strings.
Or, maybe it's the above and below the low guitar and the high guitar.
Fair enough. My friend works at Yellowstone, and some guests actually left this with the front desk upon checking out this morning.
Hey, poo-boo.
This is Jellystone, sir, not Yellowstone.
Same to me.
Same to me. They're both real. So this is the concern they wrote on this comment card. Our visit was wonderful, but we never saw any bears. Please train your bears to be where the guests can see them. This was an expensive trip not to get to see bears.
I mean, just leave your picnic basket out. We know how this works.
Well, this person doesn't know how bears work, how national parks work.
I'm curious what season this was. And that training in animals is a whole thing.
Yeah, they also don't know how bears work.
Right. I mean, it's not like you go out with a clicker and a bear's just going to roll over.
Did they think, like, I guess maybe they talked to their friends?
I'm sure they were there in winter, too.
Even so, like, well, they're hibernating. No, this is a recent story. This happened this week, I think, from what I can gather from the story. But, yeah, I guess they probably just heard from, like, their friends went to, like, oh, we went to Yellowstone, it was beautiful, and we saw bears, aren't bears the shit? And they went, they're like, let's go see some bears. So they took this very expensive trip.
It's not Siegfried and Roy.
Do they charge admission in Yellowstone? It's a national park,
so
no.
Like, probably your cabin is going to be paid.
Oh, sure. Like staying there, I'm sure it costs. But I don't think it costs anything to get in.
You can just get in.
Yeah, okay. It's probably a suggested donation, like at zoos and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took this very expensive trip, and they didn't get to see any bears.
Picnic basket. Leave it out.
Picnic basket. Slather yourself in honey. Go out into the woods. Lie down. They like when you lie down.
Bring a tiger and a pig.
What? Why those?
Because Christopher Robin.
Because I thought you were gonna say, oh, you're going with Pooh Bear. I thought you were going with lions, tigers, and bears. So I was like, hey, there's no pig in that.
There is no
song?
pig in lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. Christopher Robin.
Or just stay in your house. Like just go on the internet.
You can see bears on the internet.
Go watch that. What's that documentary with the guy gets eaten by bears? The Werner Herzog documentary. Go watch that. You'll get all the bears you need.
Lots of bears.
All right.
Or go to like Boys Town on a hot night.
Oh, you know what I was just about to say? I was like, we didn't do any bear puns in this whole, because I thought about it for a second. It's like, it's unbearable to let you go.
But don't do
And
that.
I was so proud of her self-restraint.
I'm so thankful that you didn't do that.
Well, but you did. You ruined
I didn't do a pun.
You did a pun.
That's not a pun.
That's a pun.
That's a phrase.
It's a turn of phrase. It's close to a pun. You were talking about large gay men, and I would call that a pun. Judge's ruling? All right, fine. Whatever. I still say you ruined everything.
That's what I do.
But still, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, favorite, subscribe. We're on social media.
Comment.
Yes, please comment. But yeah, mostly share the videos. Spread the love around. But anyway, this has been The Front Page. I'm Tyler Slayton.
I'm Neil Figuracion.
Thank you for watching.